I think we are getting invaded. So one of the most common questions on my channel, aside from why don't you ever wear a shirt, is why don't you use a heavy duty crossbow against all the armor and stuff you've been doing? The reason is I don't have a heavy duty crossbow, but my friend Admin just got one. So I'm literally loading up my car right now. It's gonna be a decent drive, but it's gonna be well worth it. I'm going to, of course, bring the Warbows. I'm gonna bring Grand, even though he's seen better days. The more exciting thing is going to be, we're gonna test it against the Helms. So this is the fluted Saleh, and so it's got that ridges in the front. It's already taken a lot of damage, but I'd love to see how it does against that front part here with the fluted design. We are taking the embattled Great Helm. Now, obviously, this thing has been through the ringer quite a few times, but I think we'll have really good results. We'll kind of hit it from the side here, see how that does. So I want to compare how a 600-pound crossbow does against the Warbow, and we're gonna film that and have a ton of fun breaking stuff. So let's get in the car and let's go. And just because you never want to travel alone, I'm gonna take Boromir with me as well. He's gonna be our stand-in. We don't have a ballistics dummy this time, but we're gonna use him for the helmet and also put some chainmail on him, everything. So this is gonna be a super exciting video.
Eternity later.
What's up, everybody? This is Dash right now with my friend Administrative Results. Now, when he reached out to me, because I saw he had a crossbow, I was like, is that legit a crossbow? And he said,
it's legit a crossbow.
Would you want to come? And it's like an 8-hour drive. And before he even like sent the second message, I was like, yes, I'm there. Because to be this is like a piece of history here.
This is.
Yes, and so we are basically gonna put this through the ringer. I brought a ton of armor. We're gonna do speed tests, distance tests, everything. And I'm just happy to be here. 8 hours is well worth it, because what's better than one man playing dress up? Two men playing dress up.
What do you think you're doing here? In Garnishing Gains video? Bad day to be a subscriber. Ka-thunk.
Brigandine, a lot of times you look at it, and a lot of people just think it's like a cloth type armor, right? But in the inside, you have overlapping steel plates. And this was a really common type of armor, later century for archers, and also just for men-at-arms that didn't have plate. It was great, it was mobile, you could pair it with chainmail and a padded gambeson.
I was wearing it and I felt pretty comfortable.
Yeah, and he was rocking the Warbow and everything.
Yeah, I was just dying of heat stroke.
Yes. So we bought Boromir from home here. He's a little bit shorter than normal because...
It's for not paying your taxes to the king, mate.
Come and see the violence inherent in the system! Help, help, I'm being repressed, bloody peasant! Oh.
Right there. Yeah, that's the front.
God save our glorious.
Yeah.
You got a shot.
So, 160-pound Warbow
Yeah.
versus 600-pound crossbow. Right?
That would happen.
All right.
Oh yeah, let's put it out.
It'll look better.
It'll look better.
It's good for metrics. Good for metrics. See? Look at that. That's a complete. That's an armored gentleman right there.
Tally ho! Oh shit. Tally ho! He's actually pretty on there, pretty solid. Wait, no.
Englishman.
Oh!
Woo! Round one. Round one. All right. You're up, Frenchman.
Man, she's...
Yeah, there you go.
I think I cheated it just below the arm.
Oh no, did you miss it? All right. Let's go again. Should we go? Let's check it out.
Did you hit metal?
No.
Wait.
So, wait. No, you're just under it.
So that's something to be said about it, with like missile combat like this, where it's like you may be wearing a lot of armor, but there's still going to be soft spots in what you're wearing.
Right.
But yeah, I don't think it's going to be penetrating this armor. Let's give it one more go with the crossbow at least.
All right. Okay. Let's do it.
I can't have all the fun.
Feel a little dirty though. Feel like I'm betraying.
So uncivilized.
Listen, I'm still a Warbow. I'm still a Team Warbow, dude.
Yeah.
Let's have some fun.
All right. Oh, okay. So it goes in this way and then loops in.
I would put this up top first. No.
Okay.
Look at this Warbowman.
I don't know. I don't get it. All right. And then here. What'd I do? Okay. It makes me nervous. It's like a rat trap. Whoa. Okay. Do I need to recock it?
No. That was right for the head. That was a pretty good shot.
I jumped the gun, but that looked like it did some damage, right?
Yeah, I mean, it looked like it caught something.
Yeah. This is new. This is the spot right here. So it hit there, and you can see it hit here.
Okay.
So it hit where the two spots were. So it actually, that was like, because this is a 16 gauge helmet, it's like a low carbon, so it's not super heavy duty. But when you have 2 layers up there, that's gonna do the trick, you know? It's gonna do well, so.
Let's do one final one at the same time.
Okay, Warbow and Crossbow.
Warbow and Crossbow.
I think that's a great idea.
Let's go for the head.
All right,
let's see what we can do.
Oh! Keep doing. Oh no! We gotta resharpen that. All right, so needle was here. So that went. Okay, so that went that deep. So needle was there.
Yeah.
And where was you? Where were you on this one?
I don't know. We have to play the high speed bag.
Because needles, I mean, that's almost touching your face, but not quite. That's like, that's enough to like give you a close shave, maybe.
That's enough to turn into the black print.
I think yours was another one up here, because I only had 2 last time. So I think it might have been that one up there.
I really see the Warbow arrow doing a lot more damage with that needle point.
Yeah.
Catching one of these rings.
Yeah, I agree.
Now the statistical probability, no idea. What you gotta think though is if you're at a battlefield, like a mass battle, bunch of archers shooting, the statistical probability starts going higher and higher and higher. And then you start putting those needle points into holes like that. There's like, who knows, maybe some guy has a negative lottery ticket, catches 2 at the same time.
Yeah.
Or just over and over. The repeated like just beating that helmet can take is what is really, it's impressive.
Yeah.
But it's also terrifying to imagine being on the receiving end of it.
Yeah. So if you're down for one more, I'd like to try to go side here.
All right, do it. Was this not you? I think I hit somewhere over here.
Really? This was me. Where'd you go? Where did you go?
I don't know.
So the interesting thing that's cool to me is that everybody on every like video I see and we do a lot of time, the crossbow would pierce plate. The crossbow would do this. The crossbow, this isn't even like high-end plate.
No.
Right? This is not like Milanese. This is not hardened, and it's struggling to get all the way through. So there's obviously like this disconnect where people are thinking that crossbows were outlawed because it was too deadly and it would devastate the night class. And I feel like that was kind of like a misnomer. You have the weight of these arrows. These are this is probably 2 to 3 times the weight of that. Yeah. Right? And when we did the speed test, these were at a very similar feet per second.
I think they're like 10 less.
Yes, this was a little bit less.
Yeah.
What do we have here? Well, we have a 600-pound crossbow. So as you can imagine, you cannot just pull a 600-pound crossbow back with your strength. So one thing that's really interesting about these is that the travel distance is so short, because if you look at it here, it's only going to travel from here to here. So it's not going to have the same amount of distance travel as a longbow, which is what's going to contribute to it not being as fantastic as a weapon over time. Now, easier to train, yes, but also is it going to do as well in a lot of testing? Well, we're going to find that out. So as far as it goes, how to operate it, you have this thing here called a goat's foot. And so this is going to strap onto the string here, and it's going to strap down to the bottom, and it's going to connect in this part right here. Once you get that on, you're going to crank it up and back. Whoops.
Yeah, I'm backwards.
I'm an archer, not a crossbowman. So it goes, hold on. So it's going to lever up top here. So it levers up top here. And once you have that in right there, you're going to take it and you're going to crank this back until it locks into place. And that's gonna be a lot faster than like the windlass crossbows. So it's gonna be a quicker rate of fire, but how much faster? Well, we'll figure that out versus a longbow as well. Aside from that, this is just extremely cool. It's like a piece of history, and I'm grateful to be here. So thanks to admin for basically having me out here and blessing me with these wonderful mosquitoes that are apparently unseasonal.
They don't exist out here normally.
They do now. So let's do our speed test.
One, go. Got off to a great start. Oh no.
Good fire, I'm still going.
It's actually terrifying.
Oh God, careful, be careful. Pause.
Moving. Probably not good for it.
The dry fire?
Yeah. No, definitely not. I'll be true to form.
All right.
Let's see if my my method works out in my head. Are you ready? Oh, you call it out.
Nice. Here's one.
That's all I got.
All right. Woo. Do you feel like they really are not getting a good use out of that tip?
No.
Because I feel like it's just not tapered enough. And really, like these ones I just recently ground down, and this is almost the same as that one. So that was the one that see that one right there? That's the one I did. It got a lot more penetration.
Yeah.
So it's not even that much sharper. It's like you have the difference when we clocked these, they were relatively similar feet per second.
Mm-hmm.
But when you consider the mass differential between the two, it's substantial. This is almost twice as heavy, and it's traveling at a similar velocity with increased range. So in scale of just like a 1-to-1 longbowman versus crossbowman, the longbow has the advantage. But like you said, if you're trying to levy an army, and you don't have time or generations to train a longbow, you can still get pretty dang near close the same results with just like a couple days of training. So everybody, this is Dash Rendar from the future.
She's a witch!
Breakaway real quick is because we kind of brushed over the types of arrowheads and the weight of the arrows themselves, which play a massive role in the testing that we're doing. When we did the Brigandine test, the first arrow I used was this one here. This arrow here has a needle point, so it's very tapered and very sharp. Better job of punching through that steel. A little more even and fail. When we did the steel helmet test and the other ones with the Brigandine, I used this tip here. So this is the exact same type of bodkin tip that the crossbow had. So this is very much a 1-to-1 with that, and even so it was still able to outperform. The next important thing is going to be the weight of the projectile. So this arrow here clocks in at 113 grams or 1700 grains. Crossbow bolts are about 40 grams and about 700 grains, about 2.5 times the weight of that crossbow bolt, and it's traveling at a similar velocity. I'll go over that in just a second as well. Now when we were doing the video, the speeds were clocking in a bit slow. I had never used that chronometer before, and this one, if you saw my previous video, just broke. But in the past when I've done it, the 165 as this is here, about 190, 194, 195 feet per second. It was reading it quite a bit slower there. Still lining up in a similar speed as the crossbow. The crossbow is about 5-10 feet per second faster. So we have almost a 1-to-1 feet per second with this and the crossbow. This is just ceremonious here. So basically all that to say, we are dealing with a projectile that is 2.5 times the mass as the crossbow bolt, traveling at a similar velocity. And even though I used these tips here on the first few tests, I did end up using the same exact tip that the crossbow had for the other tests. So it's a very 1-to-1 when I used this one, and it still did a lot better against the Helm and the Brigandine. So again, math plus speed, it's making all the difference. Now, back to the video.
Yeah.
You know,
you compound that over days, weeks, months, even a couple years. Pretty lethal guys with crossbows.
Yeah, the accuracy was like, I feel like it's so much easier to get it. There's no fatigue aspect where you can kind of rack it back and you just kind of hold.
Right.
So it's great for like castle defense.
Yeah.
Because you literally have it loaded and you can just kind of wait and pop up, where with a longbow or a warbow, you have to load up on the castle walls. That one you can just kind of pop up and take a shot.
I mean, I could shoot from almost any position, really.
Yeah, Pro, you can do prone.
I could be proned out. I could be on horseback.
Yeah.
I could be kneeling. I could do pot shots if I time it right. The big thing that I have to worry about is the arrow falling off.
Yeah.
So you could always hold on to it at the back and time the release.
Yeah.
Not ideal, but it's an option. Now, a big thing to consider is that length of draw, right?
Yeah.
How short that is compared to the overall pull of a longbow. As long as my crossbow.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty wild.
So that's going to be time in contact with string. So the longer something has time in contact with string, the more acceleration time it's going to have. Speed kills.
That's a great point. I think it's just so cool doing this kind of thing, man. I think these are so much fun to try and get out and kind of get a picture of history. Always that talk, how people talk like, oh, well, the crossbow's better because, you know, they see the number of like 1,200 pounds.
Going through nights, in and out the back kind of thing.
The efficiency of that weapon is just not there. Dude.
No, I mean, I was honestly really surprised about the Brigandine and the Gambeson.
Yeah.
You know, it just, because those layered plates, I don't know what it was. Maybe it caused a little bit of a diffusion of the impact. We can watch on the high speed. When it hit the actual metal helmet too, we got to watch that back because that looked like it grazed off where the longbow or the warbow dug in. So I don't know, I kind of came in with the preconception that it was going to do a little bit better, to be honest. And I'm honestly a little surprised.
You know, I don't think I would feel super great if I was going up against, I mean, imagine like if you had nothing but time to work on the warbow. You started on even younger.
Right.
And you're just dialed in with 165 pounds. I would be really worried using something like this with a goat's foot, say me and 10 guys versus you and 10 guys.
Right, right.
Unless we have really good cover or some sort of debris in us to help deflect arrows.
Yep.
Because a weird thing to think about with archery is, unlike modern warfare where there's like hard cover and then concealment, potentially things that would be not hard cover today could be in a way cover back in the day with archer shrubbery as good.
Right.
So unless I have something like that to work off, but if we're like stuck to a big open field like this, we're gonna get torn to pieces.
I mean, it's just gonna be that rate of fire too. Is the biggest thing, because we may be, I mean, maybe we can do a distance one before the day's over.
Yeah, oh,
I'd love to try and see that. But I feel like just the rapidness of the fire, where you can volley, 8 to 12 a minute if you're really good, and you're getting, it's really just gonna change things dramatically. I'm very surprised. Like, I'm surprised at the difference, I guess I would say.
I was doing my research and I was even seeing like those heavy bows. I don't think they were even really penetrating plate. Or the heavy crossbows. I don't think they were really penetrating. So it's like, to me, I kind of knew they weren't going to penetrate me. I was wanting to see what it was like employing the most practical setup. Because to me, this is kind of the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Where I'm not having to use a windlass. I can use a goat's foot. I can still be mobile, crank it down, take my time on the shot. And use cover, make myself a smaller target, and still being relatively mobile.
Right.
Because, this overall, compared to a longbow, much smaller package. And my bolts are a lot smaller too. Getting into weird spots isn't as hard.
And I could just picture, like, if crossbowmen in the tree line, it would be a lot more devastating because you don't have to get that big distance. You're literally, like, you can kind of plant up, corner up against a tree. And you can take those shots and you can post behind the tree, load up, and it's like a much better ambush type weapon, I feel. But for open field, I really don't think I see 600 pounds is not going to cut it,
No, it's not. The crossbow in teams, even then, that would still take a lot of training working with guys to make yourself mobile too.
Yeah, well, I should have brought my Roman shield.
Yeah.
We could have practiced.
We could have practiced with the piece.
So basically, I have this one here, which is a 165-pound warbow, but it is a little older. This one here is from Gibbs, and this is a lot more modern in design, laminate bow, so it's got more power, so it's going to be more analogous to, I would say, probably 130-pound U-bow than this one will. So I really want to see the difference. I haven't done distance tests with this versus this. So I'm curious how a more modern take will do versus like a more old school traditional type bow. And then the crossbow, of course.
This is about 45 degrees?
Maybe a little higher. Yeah. Oh, damn. Oh, okay.
Oh. That's gotta be the edge of that field.
That's pretty close.
I'm gonna go a little bit higher.
All right, yeah.
Ready? Oh, damn.
Hit the target, towards the camera. Whew. So again, this is like 35 pounds heavier, but it's just an older design, older bow. Bows degrade over time, so I don't know how well it'll do.
I like your excuses.
Damn French.
Sacre bleu, Englishman.
Oh, damn it, that wasn't 45.
So we have, I feel like, a pretty good video, doing a little bit of compare and contrast, at least to satisfy the itch.
I feel like it's a really good test in that a 600-pound, crossbow and a 160-pound bow that's not of you. I think when they were coming out at a similar speed, and it just shows the difference in the speed versus the power and the draw weight, because the arrows are really what's going to make that difference. The mass moving fast, right? If you have two things of similar mass moving at similar velocity, it's going to be a similar result. But if you have one thing of exponentially
Would you say a similar administrative result? He's not.
It really was a good test, and I think the biggest thing, and I know we said this a couple times in the video, was I was so thrilled that we did the Brigandine and we got to see that it struggled against that, because well, that's cheap armor. Well, if you got a crossbow, that's gonna go through that 14 gauge great helm like butter, right? And it's just not gonna. It's just, we saw that it's not gonna do it. And so it was really cool. I'm nerding out about it, to be honest. I'm really excited.
This is good info, because it's good to shatter these misconceptions, because I think there's a lot of like talk and theorizing, because it's like, oh, clearly this 1,200-pound crossbow or 600-pound crossbow could zip through it like butter.
Yeah.
And dude, I think the Warbow outperformed this thing pretty much at everything.
And it's mid-tier quality armor too.
Yeah.
That's not like the fine China stuff. I didn't bring out like the hardened, or the, that's a 16 gauge lower carbon helmet. We didn't even try the 14 gauge.
I think the missile stuff really excels at finding the nooks and crannies that soldiers have on their kit and exploiting those, especially with mass volley fire.
The takeaway is just the barrier to entry is low.
Much lower.
Right, and it's just, you want to mass produce, you want to give an army an ability to perform at a similar skill level with a minimal amount of training. Like, it's a no-brainer.
I could probably have a pretty stud 1,000 crossbowmen in a year.
Yeah.
As opposed to, it's going to take me 10, 15.
Yeah, I mean, with modern training and weightlifting and protein, it's like, took me like 10, 11 years, 12 years to get up to this,
Yeah. Half a lifetime for some of these young guys, probably.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a drastic logistical advantage.
Two was, there was a decent amount of mechanical failures.
There was.
And so I feel like, Todd's a great craftsman, and I feel like he makes stuff, and back in the day, they would probably mass produce these things, right? You have an army, it's like, okay, we're gonna throw these out as quickly as possible, but because there's more moving parts and mechanized parts, I could see those failing a lot more than just like a bow. Because a bow is like, boom, boom. That's it. And so it's just gonna be user error. Sometimes the string might break, the bow might break, but there's not gonna be a misfire or a jam. And just in the amount of time we had out here, there was quite a few jams, and that would make all the difference if you're volley firing and things like that.
There was one massive malfunction with a hang fire that really just stopped everything. Usually it's always like a slight failure to commit to the trigger pull on the user error.
Yeah, no, I noticed that too, because I was kind of like, ee! And it was like a peak. It kind of clunked.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, guys, if you want to see some really good slow-mo results and everything, be sure to watch the video on admin's page. I'm just out here with my little camera. He's got a much better setup, so if you really want to see the test in its grandeur, I'm sure you don't need me to tell you, because he's obviously a lot bigger than I am, but it was a great test. We had some good slow-mo, some great results. I feel like the Warbow came out on top, and I think we are getting invaded.